Good evening, everyone. I am Councillor Laura Binks, Mayor of Strathbogie Shire Council. I would like to welcome you to this council meeting of Tuesday, the 18th of July, 2023, being held at the Nagambie Lakes Regatta Centre. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the places we live, work and play. We recognise and respect the enduring relationship they have with their lands and waters, and we pay respects to the elders past, present and future. Today we're meeting on the lands of the Taungurung people of the Eastern Kulin Nation, whose sovereignty here has never been ceded. This public meeting is being streamed live via our website and made available for public access on our website along with the official minutes of this meeting. All care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor to the public gallery, it is assumed that your consent is given in the event that your image is broadcast to the public. It is also assumed that your consent is given to the use and disclosure of any information that you share at the meeting, including personal or sensitive information, to any person who accesses the recordings or the minutes. Council considers that the recommendations contained in this agenda gives effect to the overarching governance principles stated in section 9(2) of the Local Government Act 2020. These principles are numbered 1 to 9 on page 2 of tonight's agenda. We welcome everyone in our public gallery and to those viewing this meeting through our live stream and via our website. The meeting is being held in accordance with Strathbogie Shire's governance rules. If we have technical difficulties during today's meeting, which means we are unable to stream the proceedings to the public, we will continue with the meeting given that the public gallery is open. Voting by councillors at tonight's meeting will be held by a show of hands. If a councillor or an officer has a conflict of interest in a matter, they will be asked to leave the meeting and no discussion on the matter will commence until we are sure that they have done so. The person will then be contacted to rejoin the meeting after the matter has been considered and the vote concluded. CEO Solomon, are there any apologies for tonight's meeting?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, no, there are no apologies for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Councillors and officers, are there any disclosures of conflicts of interest to be made under Rule 94 of our Governance Rules, Division 2 of the Local Government Act 2020? No? Okay. Councillors, the minutes and decisions of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 6th of June 2023, the ordinary council meeting held on the 20th of June 2023 and the extraordinary council meeting held on the 27th of June 2023 require confirmation. Councillors, can I have a motion, please? Councillor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. Can I move the motion on page 3 for the to approve the minutes?
Thank you. Councillor Murray, is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Rayburn. Thank you, Councillor Rayburn. And I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please. And against. And I declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. CEO Solomon, are there any petitions to the table this evening?
Through you, Mayor, no, there are no petitions for this evening.
Thank you. Councillors, would anyone like to make a report of your activities the past month? Councillor Haysbert.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to talk about the conference that I attended, which was the Rural Councils Victoria Conference in Echuca on Friday, just gone. It was hosted by the Board of Rural Councils Victoria, of which the Mayor is a part, and it was a great success. And I just wanted to congratulate the Mayor and the Board on the conference. There was lots to be learned. I particularly liked the session which was called How to Do Things Differently, and it gave us a new perspective of how we should be looking at things and not necessarily coming up with the solution, because we're all very solutions focused, I think, as human beings, but thinking about how we should phrase the question and really listening and taking in all sides of the equation. I'd also like to just acknowledge that I attended a Rotary dinner, the local Euroll Rotary dinner, where there was a new president appointed, Helen Waterworth, and I'd like to thank them for hosting me. I also attended the Art Box launch, which is something that I know the arts community in our shire is really highly anticipating, and they're very excited to see it move around the towns. And I've had lots of positive feedback on the artist, Amy McCarthy, whose work is currently being shown, and lots of artists who are keen to apply to have their works shown. So that's been really positive. I'd also just like to congratulate the Euroa Primary School on taking the initiative to plant trees along their boundary on Strathbogie Street in Euroa, and acknowledge that Council's identified 180 sites in Nagambie and Avenel for tree planting over the next couple of months. It might seem like a small thing and part of Council's core business, but I really believe that planting trees in our streets offers a tangible way to combat climate change through not only through sequestering carbon, but also by naturally cooling our towns and creating safer and healthier streets. That's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Burke. Would any other councillor like to make a report? Councillor Dickinson?
Thank you, Mayor. I attended that RAC. I was going to say RAC. But I'd especially like to welcome our councillor-elect, Robin Weatherald, who hasn't been sworn in yet, I understand. But he's sitting in the gallery tonight, and he brings with us a wealth of experience. So I look forward to working with Robin. And I'd finally just like to say congratulations to the 3 Nagambie netballers who reached milestones of 50, 100 and 150 games in recent weeks. And the footy team's doing pretty well too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Councillor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things that I wanted to mention over the last month or so. I wanted to say that I attended the GV Library Board meeting on the 22nd of the 6th in Shepparton, and I thank them for inviting us across there. It was good to see everybody there and to get together face to face. It's the first time that we've met each other non-virtually, and that was terrific. I attended the Rural Australians for Refugees lunch and film in Swanpool on the 1st to the 7th of this month, and that was a great day over there. And I would like to thank Ruth Fleur in particular for organising that day. There was well attended, and it was a great film and great discussion, and a great lunch was had. NAIDOC week, I attended the film In My Blood It Runs on Friday the 7th of July down at Avenel. I'd like to thank David Willis and Rodney for organising that session down there, and it was very well attended as well. And I also attended an Avenel Active meeting last week, and I'd like to thank our volunteers down at Avenel, who are a pretty dedicated bunch, particularly Helen Gwillam, who worked really hard down there to bring that all together. So that's my report.
Thanks, Councillor Murray. Councillor Rayburn?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report on Monday the 26th of June. I attended the Euroa Community Action Group debrief around tidy towns and keep Australia beautiful, because Euroa won the state tidy towns, and then we were in the federal one, or the national one, where we came second. Well, they tried. We only missed out on a couple of accommodations. It was really good, but we wanted to, the night was about thanking the people who'd done the hard work, and one of the hardest workers for this was the Mayor, actually, who put this together to keep Australia beautiful. She took it on, and all the community who were involved in it were very, very grateful for what the Mayor had done. And so I want to say thank you to the Mayor for that. Also, I attended the Art Box with the Mayor and a couple of other councillors, and also I did attend on Friday the RCV conference with, as I said, 3 other councillors, so it was a great thing.
Thank you, Councillor Rayburn. I've just got a briefer one this evening. So on Monday, I was pleased to speak to the Australian Government's inquiry into the implications of severe weather events on the national, regional, rural and remote road network. As I'm sure everyone in our Shire is aware, this issue is of significant importance to us. Across Strathbogie Shire, we have 2,210 kilometres of roads, 1,465 kilometres are unsealed roads and 748 kilometres are sealed roads. And on top of this, connecting all these roads up, we have 521 bridges and culverts to maintain. So maintenance of this extensive road network is a significant ask, even when conditions are good. However, we are now at the point where some sections of our roads are difficult to navigate without reductions in speed limits, and we're seeing those right across the Shire. Following the October 2022 floods in our council, everyone has worked hard to determine and record the damage of that flood event. We spent weeks driving our roads with our engineers documenting the damage. We took on this huge effort because we knew we needed to be ahead of the game in terms of understanding the damage, but also first in line when it came to securing contractors. And we've been lucky in that we have secured contractors to complete the works we can afford thanks to $4.5 million in emergency flood funding. But we still have a long way to go. We have worked around the clock and we're still not on top of what needs to be done. I took the opportunity to urge the committee to investigate further funding for road maintenance and also funding that helps make our roads better. So when these weather events and flooding occurs, we have a resilient road network, and we spoke about the need for a betterment fund for Victoria. Other states, New South Wales and Queensland in particular, have those. We're yet to establish one with the federal government at this stage. And we also spoke about just the ongoing impacts that a damaged road network has to not just a community such as ours, where we have a lot of agricultural product that we supply to our communities and further afield, but also just the livelihood of everyone living in our communities, that we're able to navigate our road network and have a safe and reliable road network. So it was a really great opportunity to speak to federal politicians from right around Australia in Wodonga. While on the topic of advocacy, I'd also urge the community to visit our website and help us campaign for funding to deliver the waterway manager role, which keeps the waterways safe and the region thriving. At our May meeting, Council made the decision to consider exiting the role of waterway manager if funding to fully cover the cost of delivering the service is not provided. Waterway manager role is now costing up to $200,000 to deliver, which is essentially mean ratepayers are paying for a service which is not our responsibility. It is a state government, Victorian government responsibility. If you go to our website, we have a pro forma letter with details on who and how to send it, as well as some social media tiles and suggested wordings to join the campaign. We've seen so much cost shifting to local government from state government, and as a small rural shire with a limited number of ratepayers and a limited income stream in a rate-capped environment, we're saying this needs to stop and it's enough, and certainly the cost shifting is a hot topic that was also discussed at the Rural Council's Victoria Forum on Friday, and looking into ways that we can, I guess, balance the need to how we maintain financial and resource sustainability across the small rural shires in Victoria. We'll now move to public questions. So, CEO Solomon, are there any questions from the public this evening?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. Yes, we have 5 submitters of questions for tonight's meeting, none of which are in attendance, so I will read the questions and offer the response. The first question is from Kelvin Granger and Dean Hurlston from Council Watch Incorporated. They ask, can Council please advise the dollar amount of cost shifting from state government they estimate they incurred in the 2022-23 financial year? Thank you for your question, Kelvin and Dean. Despite the question not being on the in the prescribed format, I will address it. I would advise that it is not possible to quantify the dollar amount of cost shifting in the 2022-23 year. Cost shifting is a nebulous concept, as most, if not all, local government expenditure is a cumulative result of an allocation or transfer of functions from state governments at various stages since the establishment of Local Government Act in 1874, in the then relatively new colony of Victoria. To provide some more specific recent data to Council Watch, I refer them to an agenda and minutes of the Strathbogie Shire Council meeting of October 2022, where Council previously considered the impact of cost shifting on the Shire. Thank you. The second submitter of questions is Des Mason from Curwins Bridge. Des asks the following. Will Council confirm which of the 3 engineering firms has been advising the Shire's insurance company on the structural integrity of the bridge for public liability cover indemnity, and over how many years? The second question is it correct that a Shire officer told some residents that Curwins Bridge will never be reopened? The Shire can't afford it. Road job is far cheaper. How does that sit with the CEO comment, the Shire is committed to Curwins Bridge? Thank you for your questions, Des, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to respond and clarify any confusion. In response to your first question, Council now has 2 reports on the bridge's structural integrity that say it is unsafe for traffic. A further report was commissioned by Council, which was a visual inspection to determine if the waterway, as Waterways Manager, was safe to reopen. We would like to be clear on who, what and why these reports were commissioned. The report completed by GMR Engineering was commissioned by Council for the purposes of reopening the waterway. The report completed by FMG Engineering was commissioned by our insurers for the purposes of reopening the bridge to traffic. The third report, completed by JJ Ryan Engineering, was commissioned by Council for the purpose of understanding the works needed to cost and design 2 options that will ensure the bridge's long-term future. Council's insurance provider is JLT Insurance, and they commissioned the report by FMG Engineering directly, as I have explained. If you're interested in reading either of the reports commissioned on the bridge's structural integrity for the purposes of traffic, please head to our website where they are publicly available. On our website, you will also find further information on the insurance of the bridge, which has been available since March this year and was also letterbox dropped to all homes in Curwins Bridge. The bridge is insured against physical loss, destruction or damage, which includes flood, for a total of $4.5 million. As is the case with insurance, this figure was reached through evaluation. It's the same as any member of the community insuring their home. They did this through evaluation rather than a structural assessment. With regard to your second question, Des, this is absolutely incorrect. Council is committed to a long-term sustainable future for Curwins Bridge. Through our work with the Curwins Bridge Community Panel, 2 options have been identified for the future of the bridge, and work to design and cost these options is now almost complete. The 2 options which have been identified by the Community Panel for the future of the bridge are a new replica bridge with pedestrian and cycling access, or extensive structural repairs and strengthening works to the current bridge. Our goal is to ensure that the bridge remains open and is safe for the next 25 to 50 plus years. So, despite the 2 structural reports which have found the bridge is unsafe to reopen to traffic in its current structural condition, Council does remain committed to finding a solution to reopen the bridge. As a small rural shire with financial challenges, we will need to advocate strongly for Victorian and Australian government's funding to complete these works. We've already started this advocacy work and encourage the community to read our Advocacy Ask document on our website. We're also applying for a federal flood recovery funding, which closes on August the 1st. We have consistently asked for the community support to help us advocate for funding to upgrade Curwins Bridge. We know that we will have a greater chance of success when we work together. I implore and encourage our community to work with us, not against us. We are all seeking the best outcomes for our community, and together we will have far greater success. Thank you for your questions, Des. The third submitter of questions is Jackie Anton from Goulburn Weir. Jackie asks, prior to closure, Curwins Bridge traffic count was over 3,500 cars per week, not including heavy vehicle traffic. Can you provide a copy of the most recent average daily traffic study undertaken on Reedy Lake Road and Weir Road prior to the design being finalised and the contract for Weir Road upgrade awarded? And secondly, what load carrying capacities and speed limits have been included in the specifications for the Nagambie Rushworth Road, Weir Road, Nagambie Reedy Lake Road upgrade project? Are these figures reflected in the planned road width? Thank you for your questions, Jackie. Council conducted a traffic count on Curwins Bridge from January 19 to January 27 in 2021. During this time, an average of 501 vehicles used the bridge each day. The design of Weir Road upgrade in 2021 factored 600 vehicles per day plus 15% allowance for heavy vehicles. The redesign has used the same vehicle count. As you know, we are committed to a long-term sustainable future for Curwins Bridge. Again, I implore you to work with us, not against us. We are all seeking the best outcomes for our community, and as I've mentioned previously, together we will have far greater success. In relation to your second question, the design for the upgrade of Weir Road was completed with a general load limit of 25 tonne. Pavement recommendations are not made on a maximum truck size mass. However, the estimates have been based on the likelihood that some of those trucks would be fully loaded semi-trailers. I can also confirm appropriate speed signs will be installed as per the design. I would like to say that Council is trying to create better outcomes for our community. We recognise the upgrade to Weir Road wasn't good enough. We worked hard to create a better design for the residents of Curwins Bridge. We did put a 5-tonne capacity on the road after hearing the community's concerns about damage to the road. We hired an additional grader for Weir Road after listening to your concerns about the quality of the road. We then removed the 5-tonne load capacity in response to new concerns raised by community. I know I'm sounding a bit like a broken record, but we all have the same goal here, and that's positive outcomes for our community. And thank you for your question, Jackie. The fourth submitter of questions is from Jocelyn Burrows from Curwins Bridge. Jocelyn asks, can the Shire advise which of the 3 engineering companies that have deemed Curwins Bridge unsafe are able to demonstrate previous engineering experience and expertise in assessing and repairing timber bridges in Victoria? Thank you for your question, Jocelyn. I would like to reiterate my comments from earlier and to again explain the 3 separate reports. The report completed by GMR Engineering was commissioned by Council for the purpose of reopening the waterway. The report completed by FMG Engineering was commissioned by our insurers for the purpose of reopening the bridge to traffic. The report completed by JJ Ryan was commissioned by Council for the purpose of understanding the works needed to cost and design 2 options that will ensure the bridge's long-term future. The decision to reopen the bridge has had to be made on the FMG report commissioned directly by our insurance company. We cannot reopen the bridge when we have a report that has found it is structurally compromised and is not safe for use by vehicle traffic. FMG Engineering is a national company with offices in Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide. It has a 50-year history and is now recognised as one of the leading private engineering firms in Australia. And thank you for your question, Jocelyn. And the fifth and final question is from Kerry Bradshaw, also from Cohen's Bridge. Kerry asks, the Shire is saying the bridge is closed until insurers' engineers allow it to be reopened. What insurance applies, what policy, covering what risks, and when did the policy commence? Kerry's second question is, McLaren's are the brokers mentioned by the Shire. When did they first assess the bridge to submit to companies to accept the assurance risk, and how would McLaren's know whether there was flood damage or not? Thank you for your questions, Kerry. We updated the information you are seeking through our frequently asked questions on our website, which we also let a box drop to all homes in Cohen's Bridge in March this year. The bridge is insured against physical loss, destruction or damage, which includes flood damage for up to $4.5 million. In response to your second question, Kerry, council insurance provider is JLT. As in any case with insurance, the figure, as I mentioned previously, is reached through valuation rather than a structural assessment. We all are trying to work together here to find a long-term sustainable future for Cohen's Bridge, and we are committed to working together. We have provided information and explanations and a community engagement program that has allowed the community to drive and decide the options for the bridge's future. But we need your help now. We need to secure funding from Victorian and Australian governments to complete the upgrade works. I cannot say strongly enough, Kerry, please work with us to achieve our shared goals. And thank you, Mayor, that's the end of the questions tonight.
Thank you, CEO Solomon. Councillors and members of the gallery, as you're aware, we have Councillor-elect Robin Weatherall with us this evening, ready to undertake the oath of office to enable him to perform his role as councillor for the Lake Ngambie ward and commence his duties. Therefore, a motion is required to suspend standing orders to allow the oath to be taken. Councillors, do I have a mover of the oath? Councillor Rayburn.
I say move.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder of the oath? Councillor Haysberg. Thank you, Councillor Haysberg. Can I see show of hands, all those in favour, please? And against, I declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. I'll now hand over to the CEO to perform the oath.
Thank you, Mayor. And through you, I'll come down to you here. You're happy to use that Bible?
That's true. This
Unlike my untrue Bible.
That's the King James.
You can have one in each hand. There you go. That'll be double on the oath. Elected to take an oath, and I will read the oath, and if you can repeat after me. This oath is taken in accordance with Section 30, Section 1 of the Local Government Act 2020.
This oath is taken in accordance with the Section 30 of the Local Government Act 2020.
Regulation 5
Regulation 5
of the Local Government Governance and Integrity Regulations
of the Local Government Regulations and Integrity Regulations
2020, and Part 2 of the Oaths and Affirmations Act 2018. And Part 2 of the Oaths
of the Oath
and Affirmations Act 2018. I swear by Almighty God.
I swear by Almighty God.
That I undertake the duties of the office of councillor.
That I undertake the duties of councillor as councillor.
In the best interest of the municipal community.
In the best interest of the municipal community.
I will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct.
I shall abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct.
And uphold the standards of conduct.
Standards of conduct.
Set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct.
Set out in the Councillor Code of Conduct.
I will faithfully and impartially.
I will faithfully and impartially
carry out and exercise the functions,
carry out and exercise the functions,
powers,
the powers,
authorities,
the authorities,
and discretions
and the discretions
vested in me under the Local Government Act, vested in me
vested in me under the Local Government Act
2020
2020
and any other act
and any other act,
to the best of my skill and judgment.
to the best of my ability, skill and judgment.
Congratulations, Councillor. Away almost.
Yeah,
Not quite.
you're not wrong about that, madam.
Oh, you've got
I wouldn't sign. Oh,
Okay. I would just, with indulgence of the Mayor, I've just got a short statement, and it's not a prayer,
Okay.
please. I would like to acknowledge the role of the Victorian Electoral Commission in the conduct of the by-election, especially to thank Susan Thompson for involved. I appreciate the Strathbogie Shire Chief Executive Officer, Julie Solomon's role and her dedicated staff who service our community. I acknowledge previous councillors, Marina Lakos, David Andrews, and the person I've learned to work with, Paul Aton. He's the Audit Committee Chairperson, and he was in the counting process, and I found him a gentleman. Respectfully, I shall have to restrict my personal agenda, starting with most important priority, working to build a strong relationship with my 6 fellow councillors. It is my firm commitment to deliver my support so that Council can quickly get its teamwork together and deliver tangible results that will both impress the community, where are we? Impress the community. Oh God, I lost it. And the local government monitor. Good heavens. You're forgetting him. Together we are capable of setting new standards of governance and prosperity to the Strathbogie community, while not forgetting my major role as councillor for Lake Ngambie Ward to deliver my best personal service.
Yeah. Around here. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Mary. Thank you and welcome. We now need a motion that standing orders be resumed. Councillors, can I have a motion? Councillor Murray, thank you, Councillor Murray. And Councillor Rayburn to second. Thank you, councillors. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against, and declare that carried. Congratulations, Councillor Weatherald. Before proceeding, Councillor Weatherald, do you have any disclosures of conflicts of interest to be made under Rule 94 of our Governance Rules and Division 2 of the Local Government Act 2020 with respect to tonight's agenda?
To the best of my ability, I have no conflicts of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherald, and welcome. And we will now move on to the officers' report, the main part of tonight's meeting agenda. So we'll move to page 6 of the agenda, and we've got item 11.1.1 planning applications received and planning applications determined the 1st to the 30th of June 2023. Director Frampton, may we have a summary of this report, please?
Thank you, Mayor Binks. This report is Council's standard planning applications received and planning applications determined report for the period 1 through to 30 June 2023. Attachment 1 details the 8 planning applications received, and Attachment 2 details the 19 planning applications determined in this reporting period. Council will find officer recommendations for your consideration on page 6 of tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Director Frampton. Councillors, are there any questions of clarification of the officer regarding this item? If not, councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. Can I move the recommendation as a motion listed on page 6 of our agenda?
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Dickinson. Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Murray?
Just briefly to say that one of the applications here is pertinent to my ward, and that's the 2 Murchison Road Avenel application, and I'm keen to see that one considered along with our advocacy issue down there at Avenel around that particular area. So in light of all that, I think it's a welcome application.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Dickinson, would you like to speak? Any other councillor like to speak to this item? If not, councillors, I'll put the motion to a vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? Against, and declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. We now move to page 8 of our agenda, item 11.2.1, the Nagambie Library Building Condition and Relocation Options. Director Frampton, may we have a summary of the report, please?
Council have a long-standing agreement with Goulburn Valley Regional Library Corporation for them to deliver a library service across the municipality. This includes the provision of a suitable location to provide an operational library service. Depending on the township, council may actually own a suitable asset, or we may be required to lease an asset or come to other arrangements within that township to provide a location. Nagambie Library has been operating from 352 High Street, Nagambie, for many years. Many of you will know that's the former council offices for the Shire of Goulburn. Library staff identified significant damage to the structure of the building in the last week of May 2023. Council officers then inspected the site and identified significant structural concerns in the building, posing a significant risk to staff and to the general public. Guthrie and Goldrick engineers completed structural assessments and investigations at the site. Their recommendation was for further regular testing to actually monitor the damage that was occurring in the building, and for a section of the library to be closed to the public. The section that they were indicating needed to be closed was the children's section, so for those of you that have been in the building. The library in its current form has been closed since the start of June 2023, so we're sort of in the 6th or 7th week of closure. Council officers have been working with Goulburn Valley Regional Library Corporation to identify suitable options moving forward, given the damage that is currently being witnessed there. These 3 options are considered in this report, and each present different issues and opportunities for council to consider. Officers recommend option 3, the relocation of Nagambie Library to Shop 5 Nagambie Central along High Street in Nagambie, so that's opposite the Champions IGA. You'll find an attachment in your agenda which actually maps the 3 options for you. So it would see the library moving into a retail lease for 1 year with the opportunity for council to extend for 2 further 1-year terms. If the location met the needs of both parties, being council and Goulburn Valley Regional Library. The recommendation can be found on page 9 of your agenda for your consideration.
Thank you, Director Frampton. Councillors, are there any questions of clarification for the officer this evening? Councillor Dickinson?
Thanks, Mayor. Just one question. Wondering what the difference in in area is between the old library and the proposed new library. And I stepped at the new library. It's around 200 square metres. Just wondering what the old one was.
I did ask, thanks Councillor Dickinson. I asked the question today of our assets department. They indicated that the library at 352 High Street is around about 120 metres squared. The new library, or the option 3 that's for your consideration, is around about 150 to 200 metres squared. There's, it's quite an open plan, so it certainly meets the needs of Goulburn Valley Regional Library Corporation in their ability to display their books and their shelving. So that was sort of a key consideration in regards to the relocation. It needed to have a certain amount of open space where all of their book infrastructure could be placed to make sure the library was fit for purpose. So it is probably a comparable metres per squared. Yeah,
Thank you.
on both sides.
Thank you, Director Frampton. Are there any further questions or clarification on this item? If not, councillors, we have the Chief Executive of Goulburn Valley Libraries, Felicity, and my apologies if I mispronounce your last name, Makion, there you go. You never know where to put your emphasis on when there's all double C's. So Felicity Makion has requested to address council on this item. Felicity, you have 5 minutes to make your presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince. Thanks, councillors. So I'm Felicity Makion, CEO of Goulburn Valley Libraries. I've been working closely with the Strathbogie Council officers to develop the best possible outcome for the relocation of the Gambie Library for the community. The Gambie Library is one of our higher use facilities across the region and is an asset to the community. We have over 13,000 loans each year and over 9,000 visits, which is great statistics for a small town. I would like to talk through my opinions of the options. So option 1, staying in the same building, is not achievable as the toilets are not accessible and I feel unsafe to do so for the staff and community. Option 2 is not fit for purpose, a building that would not hold any collection as it is so small and has no room for any sort of collection or space for computer usage or activities for families of the Nagambie community. Option 3 is my preferred option. This space is a bigger open plan space and will hold 3/4 of our current collection, which is currently 8,500 items. It has room for us to do activities, computer access for classes, and also accessible for all of the community. This space will be great for community as we have can also have school visits, and there's an outside area that we can use during summer as well. It's also the quickest option that we can get back into a building and open our libraries for the community. This option will allow us to continue business as usual and support the growing Nagambie community. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to this item.
Thank you, Felicity. And I'll just check that councillors, they may have clarifying questions. So councillors, if you have any clarifying questions of Chief Executive Officer, you are welcome to ask them, and I just remind you that we're not to enter into debate. It's just an opportunity for clarifying questions. So, councillors, are there any clarifying questions of the Chief Executive? Yes, Councillor Weatherall.
A question to the officer. The proposed site number 3 appears to be an exciting option, good traffic flow and near the supermarket. Can the officer explain to us what protection the Shire will have in rate escalation that may occur if this turns out to be a long-term arrangement?
I think that would be for our officers. Felicity's from the Goulburn Valley Library Corporation. So, yes. So, Rachel, would you be able to address that question from Councillor Weatherall?
Yes. So
before you do, I might just check that if there's any questions of clarification for the Chief Executive of the Goulburn Valley Libraries. Yes, Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I just thank you, Felicity, for your presentation. You mentioned some open space, and I wasn't aware of any open space in that particular site. Could you just describe
Outside area?
the outside area there?
So as you're looking towards the building, there's an outside space on the right between the two buildings, concreted, fenced off space that we could use for story times and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
One further question, perhaps. This one, the library officer should be able to answer.
Yes, Councillor Weatherall.
Can you describe what potential there is in the site number 3 for higher customer numbers?
Yes, so with all the options, it's an open space, so we'll be able to have different activities in different areas. It won't be quiet space, so you'll still be able to hear the story times while you're on the computers, but it's a lot more open planned, and we'll be able to have more people coming through. Probably not more than the older building, but comparatively an option for the community to come in and use.
Thank you. Thank you, Felicity, for your address and for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. Can I come back to you, Director Frampton? Are you able to address Councillor Weatherall's question regarding potential increase to rates on the site? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherall, for your question, and through you, Mayor. The proposed recommendation is for an initial 1-year lease. We will then obviously need to weigh up the pros and cons of that as a location or moving to another location. We currently do have a small amount of budget allocated against library expenditure for the existing library. Obviously, we wouldn't be expending those funds, so the report does detail about moving that funding allocation to help offset some of the expense associated with the lease of Shop 5. So the report initially has us signing on for a 1-year term, and we'll then reassess those options. We are also looking at our civic assets project. As Council know, in the budget from June that was adopted, there is a project looking at civic presence and civic assets around Ngambia Township. So we were looking at what a long-term option for the library might actually be if we determine that a leased site isn't ideal or doesn't meet the needs of the community. There's certainly other longer-term options that we'd be exploring.
Thank you, Director Frampton. If there are no further questions of the Director, Councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Dickinson.
I'd like to move the motion as stated on page 9.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Hayes-Burke. Thank you, Councillor Hayes-Burke. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Dickinson?
Thank you, Mayor. Look, it's a terrific location. Maybe St Joey's and the kindergarten might not agree with that, but they also might enjoy the walk. The other primary school will be closer. There's plenty of car parking. It's a new building. There is an outdoor area, and these premises are actually larger than the old premises. So it's a win. It's a big win, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Councillor Hayes-Burke, would you like to
Just
speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I'd just like to endorse the remarks of Councillor Dickinson. I know libraries are a really important place for the community to gather, and they're real assets for the community. So as a matter of urgency, I'd like to see the Ngambia Library reinstated. And I think that option 3 is the most sensible option, while it's the most cost effective in the short term and it buys us time to assess the civic presence in the future, especially in a growing town like Ngambia.
Thank you, Councillor Hayes-Burke. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Yes, Councillor Weatherall.
Yes, I think I endorse Councillor Ridge's and Councillor Sally's comments. I think Council need to impress upon our officers that this is a commercial area. It's a business area, and these are business rents. Business people will take advantage of the traffic flows that Goulburn Valley Library produce, and the demand for the site in future years will greatly increase in value. So Council should be considering perhaps a longer term lease at this particular stage, because 1 year will see us, too short. So my encouragement is for the officers to sharpen the pencils and look at the numbers better. I think you could get a better result for the Ngambie community.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherall. Did any other councillor wish to speak to the item? Councillor Murray.
I endorse some of those comments there that have been made. I think libraries are a vital presence in our communities, and I think we've got to solve this problem as quickly as possible, and I think this is a great solution for the community. It's a great location, lots of foot traffic, lots of car parking, and great access. It's a great site, I think, and I thoroughly support the.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. If no other councillor wishes to speak to the motion, Councillor Dickinson, would you like your right of reply?
No.
Oh, good.
It's all been said, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. I'll put the motion to a vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against, and declare it carried. Thank you, councillors. We now move to page 15 of the agenda, item 11.3.1, tender for collaborative digital innovation, CODI, IT Systems Alignment Project. Acting Director Tingay, may we have a summary of the report, please?
Thank you, Mayor Binks. The Collaborative Digital Innovation, in brackets CODI, IT Systems Alignment Project, is a digital transformation project across 4 councils, that being Mansfield Shire Council, who are the lead agency, Murrindindi Council, Benalla Rural City Council, and us, the Strathbogie Shire Council. The project has received external funding and is also supported by a financial contribution of each of the 4 participating councils. All 4 partnering councils currently operate with a range of out-of-date systems, so that being computer systems and programs and software, with a number of systems to be replaced. As the lead agency, Mansfield Shire Council has undertaken a tender process in search of new systems. At the closing of tender, limited responses have been received for a complete enterprise solution. As such, officers are recommending that Council award part of the program, that being the building component, planning component and regulatory services component, as well as the information management component. It is proposed that a further tender process is undertaken in response to the finance, property and rate system, and also customer management elements of the transformation program. The tenders will also include HR, payroll and asset management as optional modules in response to the identified need that some councils have within these areas. There is a recommendation commencing on page 15 for council's consideration. Thank you, Mayor Binks.
Thank you, Acting Director Tingay. Councillors, are there any questions of clarification for the officer? Oh, yes. Councillor Haysbert.
Thanks, Director Tingay and Mayor. I'd just like to clarify what's Council's contribution annually for this project and in total for the whole project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert, and through you, Mayor Binks. So, Council's total commitment for the project is $569,120. Within our budgeting in this financial year, so in 23-24, we have $361,450 allocated to the project this year, and forecasted in the 24-25 year is $207,670 in total.
Thanks, Director Tingay. And from a governance perspective, do you think that this shared services model offers better value for the community?
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert, and through you, Mayor Binks. Yes, I think that this partnership is obviously something that the government has seen as really important. It offers an opportunity for us to collectively get buying power for a number of programs and services that we may not have been able to afford individually on our own. It also enables the opportunity in the future for shared resources as well, where if programs are the same at different councils, then there's opportunities to be able to share those resources without having to induct in particular programs if they already exist and are familiar with the software. So there's many benefits, and it's very, very exciting that we have received funding for this program, because it's a great collaborative approach.
Can I just also ask Sarah one? So do you have a rough idea what something like this would cost if we were to go at it alone?
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert, through you, Mayor Binks. I think that only the market could drive that, so I'd be unable to provide a response, but certainly there is buy power in being able to do that.
Thank you, Director Tingay. Are there any further questions of clarification regarding this item, councillors? If not, councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Haysbert.
Thanks, Mayor. Can I please move the motion on page 15 of the agenda?
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Hourigan. Thank you, Councillor Hourigan. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Haysbert?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to thank the team of officers who've been working hard on this really complex project. I think that with the council tonight, we have a really great opportunity here in making this decision. It will bring the suite of IT services into the 21st century, and will make the work of council more efficient and in its ability to deliver for the community. The 4 councils joining together for the project is delivering huge savings and giving us a much greater buying power, and also delivering a much higher quality system that we couldn't achieve on our own. The program comes with inbuilt support when transitioning to the new system, and it's an opportunity to learn from other councils and share resources. So I think it's a no-brainer, and I hope that my fellow councillors will support this decision tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert. Councillor Hourigan, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mayor Binks. I'd like to confirm everything that Councillor Haysbert has said, and it's really good for regional councils to get smarter about, how we work and to save money for our communities. I think this is a perfect example of getting together with other ones, to do better as well.
Thank you, Councillor Hourigan. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Rayburn.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate the 4 councils on doing this collaborative digital innovation. It's under the Local Government Act 2020 that councils come together to do more collaborative engagement with each other and to get business systems set up to help reduce the costs for the rural areas, and also reduce the cost to our community, and that's one of the biggest assets of this whole concept.
Thank you, Councillor Rayburn. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? Councillor Murray.
Yes, I'd like to say how exciting this is for us as a small shire. I think there are great benefits to be gained from collaboration with other shires as a small rural shire, and efficiencies to be gained from all this, particularly in that sort of aspect of sharing resources and costs and the difficulties with some of these systems that occur. I'm really heartened to see both the building planning and information management come online with this. I really look forward to the finance, customer and rating sort of sections to come online and to be part of this scheme. So I look forward to that in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Weddell, did you wish to say anything?
Yes, may I congratulate the advance on local government over the last 10 years. This is a magnificent example of shires working together. The attraction of almost $2 million in outside funding to assist in significant works programs that will increase efficiency, save money and improve the ratepayers' service level. I believe this is a great example of cooperation with our neighbours.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherall. If no other councillor wishes to speak to the item, I'll put the motion to a vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against, and declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. We will now move to page 25 of the agenda. Item 11.3.2, contracts and works awarded under delegation 1 to 30th of June 2023. Acting Director Tingay, can we have a summary of the report, please?
Thank you, Mayor Binks. As councillors are all aware, this is a standard monthly report that details contracts and works awarded under delegation. Within this month's report, there are 4 contracts and works that have been included. They are the online engagement hub, the annual renewal of ITC services, a service desk system, so a computer software program renewal. We also have the virtualisation application software, and we also have our InfoWise subscription renewal, which is essentially our information management record system, which has been renewed. There is a recommendation on page 25 for Council's consideration.
Thank you, Acting Director Tingay. Councillors, are there any questions or clarification regarding this report? No? If not, councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Haysbert?
Oh, sorry. Can I please move the motion on page 25 of the agenda?
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Murray. Thank you, Councillor Murray. Would you like to speak to the item, Councillor Haysbert?
I don't think I need to, but I appreciate seeing this regular report.
Thank you, Councillor Haysbert. Councillor Murray, would you like to speak to the item?
No, thank you.
Any other councillor like to speak to the item? If not, councillors, I'll put the motion to the vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against? And declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. I now move to page 29 of our agenda this evening, item 11.5.1, Victorian Independent Remuneration Tribunal Annual Adjustment to Allowances Payable to Mayors, Deputy Mayors and Councillors. Acting Director Tingay, may we have a summary of this report?
Thank you, Mayor Binks. The Victorian Independent Remuneration Tribunal has released its annual adjustment to allowances payable to mayors, deputy mayors and councillors. The tribunal determined a 2% increase to the values of the base allowance effective from 1 July 2023. A 2% increase has also been applied to the base allowance values, which take effect on the 18th of December 2023, the 18th of December 2024 for mayors and deputy mayors only, the 18th of December 2025 for mayor and deputy mayors only. This 2% increase is in addition to the 1.5% adjustment made on the 18th of December 2022, resulting in an approximate 3.5% increase to allowances compared to the 1st of July 2022. The determination also adjusted the value of the London area travel allowance by 2%. There's a recommendation on page 30 of the agenda for Council's consideration. Thank you, Mayor Binks.
Thank you, Acting Director Tingay. Councillors, are there any questions of clarification regarding this item in our agenda this evening? Councillors, if there's no questions of clarification.
Hey, Tom.
Sorry, Tom. Douse that in the public question time. You missed your chance. If there's no questions or clarification, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Horrigan.
Adopt the recommendation that's on page 30 of the agenda, please.
Thank you, Councillor Horrigan. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Murray. Thank you, Councillor Murray. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Horrigan? Councillor Murray, would you like to speak to the motion?
I don't think so. Just to make the point that it's the independent, remuneration tribunal, and they make an independent decision on these matters. And I'm happy to see that small increase in councillor reimbursement.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Would any other councillor like to speak to it? Councillor Weatherall?
While I might have a perceived conflict of interest, I do note that the Mayor particularly did a great deal of work in lobbying for greater remuneration for local government councillors. It needs to be acknowledged that the Mayor appears to have been very successful. Councillors will, like me, do as they're told and take the money.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherall. Would any other councillor like to speak to the item? Councillor Rayburn.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Just the only comment I will make, and as Councillor Murray did say, it is an independent renewal process. It's not done by government. It's not done by us as councillors. It's done by an independent body, which gives us credit to what councillors are doing for their community, and they have adjusted the finances accordingly.
If not, councillors, I'll put the motion to a vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against, and declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. We now move to page 34 of our agenda, 11.5.1, monthly performance report. Acting Director Tingay, may we have a summary of the report, please?
Thank you, Mayor Binks. As all councillors are aware, another standard report that we include in our agenda, which covers the monthly performance on a range of different services and activities that council offer. And this month is obviously June statistics. Another very busy month for us as officers at council. Throughout the month of June, we had customer inquiries for the month that were where we completed 801 throughout the month. So that was a really good achievement by all, continuing to do our day-to-day business and respond to community needs. There's a recommendation on page 34 for council's consideration. Thank you, Mayor Binks.
Thank you, Acting Director Tingay. Councillors, are there any questions or clarification regarding this item? If not, councillors, do you have a question or clarification, or no, you want to move the motion?
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherall. Moved by Councillor Weatherall, thank you. And do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Haysberg, thank you, Councillor Haysberg. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Weatherall?
That was the reason I moved the motion. I admire the reports, and they are quite impressive, but some of them, the print has degenerated to a font that is not readable without assistance. And well, there's no number on this page, and I don't know what it really, oh, there it is, page 40. There is a graph and figures, and I don't understand that. But I will probably seek to improve my education and seek more information from the officers at an appropriate time. On page 41, small, and there's no explanation. It lost me. There's figures all over the place, and I don't understand that. And this is for public consummation or for consuming by public members, and it needs to be clear and transparent, and the public need to be able to understand what is said. The page 42, the print is small, and I don't understand it, and there is no explanation, but it looks good. What I found with the page 43 and page 44 is one of the most important environmental opportunities the Shire faces with waste management. I've looked at this information and it looks good, but it's one of the most challenging and the most rewarding parts of the Shire. Make great improvements to waste management. It does not appear to be occurring there. So I think the challenge is for waste management to be more clearly explained, and for goals to be set so that we can achieve much more efficient handling of waste and reduced landfill use quite significantly. The colour graph, again, with all those bars of all different colours standing up there over a long period of time, is significant, and we do appear, by the last figure, to be making progress, but I think the public need to be able to understand these figures and be able to spur council on to improving the environment by better management of waste. page 45, I suppose it is. What is this showing? I don't know. It's not really, it's the organics contamination. Okay. What is it showing? Where are the improvements? And what are the impacts of education program? Because Shire, through the waste management program, conducts education programs to educate our community into reducing waste, and especially landfill. And the use of their organics is one of the most exciting opportunities. And I look forward very keenly to the introduction of the glass collection, because that's a step that the Shire needs to hasten up and become proactive in. The next one is transfer station data. Transfer stations are reasonably costly. I couldn't quite grasp what this is, but I will take, with the Chief Executive's Office's permission, get some explanation from the waste management officers, so that I'm not in this position again where I raise probably minor issues about little issues. I think that the significance of what I'm trying to say is that the reports in this document need to be clear, precise and informative to the community. That way we can improve our education process.
Thank you, Councillor Weatherald. Councillor Hayes-Burke, would you like to speak to the item?
Just to thank the officers for another month of hard work and responding to requests. I also just want to note the transfer station data for Euroa is significantly higher, and just shows the need for the resale shop. So hopefully I look forward to seeing the one in Nagambie up and running. And so, as Councillor Weatherall pointed out, another opportunity for us to divert waste from landfill.
Thank you, Councillor Hayes-Burke. Would any other councillor like to speak to the item? No, if not councillors, I will put the motion to the vote. Can I see a show of hands for all those in favour, please? And against, and declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. So we do not have any notices of motion, notices of rescission, urgent business or confidential business to conduct this evening. Therefore, I will make an explanation to you all, and apologies for not advising fellow councillors of this prior, but in conversations between myself and our trainer, Andrew Douglas, who we worked with this morning, we've chosen to just delay. We had an extraordinary meeting of Strathbogie Shire Council that was scheduled to be held on Tuesday, the 25th of July, 2023, but given we've just had a really fantastic session this morning and the introduction of Councillor Weatherald, we want to take at least just a pause a week to finalise that work we started today, so that we can adopt that at a meeting, and it may be at a newly advertised extraordinary meeting in August, but we just want to make sure that the work we got through today, we had a slightly shortened day due to some unforeseen circumstances, and just making sure that we are all on board, and want to confirm with my colleagues, but also to reassure the community that councillors are diligently working with Andrew Douglas as our trainer to finalise our work on the statement of intent, which we spoke about at the extraordinary meeting on June 27th. So at this stage, we will cancel that previously advised extraordinary meeting for Tuesday, the 25th of July, and just make sure that we've completed this work to the best of our ability, and that we really are in a great place to go forward collectively with our newly elected councillor representative in Councillor Weatherald. So and obviously we will keep community informed if there is an extraordinary meeting prior to the next ordinary meeting of council, and that will be advised and advertised as is required. But the next monthly meeting of Strathbogie Shire Council is scheduled to be held on Tuesday the 15th of August 2023 at the Aroa Community Conference Centre, commencing at 6 p.m. So there being no further business to conduct this evening, I declare that the meeting has closed at 7:14 p.m. Thank you, everybody, and good evening.